Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome to the Friday Noonday Concert here at Fourth Presbyterian Church. My name is Emma. I'm the music department manager here. What a treat to have everybody here in person and on the live stream at home to join us as a fabulous afternoon of music making. If you can do a favor for me, take a moment, silence those cell phones. If you want to open up your program, you'll see some of the upcoming performances. So, next week is James Mellichamp. He is going to be pouring in from Washington. He's going to be coming to perform for us on the organ. This is the largest organ in the Midwest, the Quimby. We're celebrating 11 years with it this year. And let me tell you, when they play that sucker and it gets really loud, you can feel it vibrate underneath you. So, if you can and come in person, we'd love to have you. If you can at home, join us on that live stream. It's going to be fantastic. One announcement, for June the 26th, unfortunately, Dr. Perez told us that due to health reasons, he will not be able to join us. We have rescheduled the June 26th concert to be a young cellist and pianist duo. They're signing the contract as we speak, so I hope to be able to announce that next week for you. But just so you know, if you'd like to have some opportunities to see today's artists, they're going to be playing a free concert on June the 21st as part of Make Music Chicago. Make Music Chicago is a citywide festival where all the musicians come out and you can travel across the city and see multiple free concerts that day. But if you'd like to see Sara, Sue, and Tatyana, they will be playing at the DePaul Allen Concert Hall at 2 o'clock. And again, that's on June the 21st. If you'd like more information about that, you can meet me in the back and I'll be happy to tell you about it. If you tonight would like to join us for a little bit of free music, upstairs in Buchanan Chapel, we are going to be featuring the fellowship artists from the Chicago Civic Orchestra. They're performing a concert called Transcendent Souls. It's an 8-cello solo concert. So that's going to be at 7 o'clock tonight. It is a free concert upstairs in Buchanan Hall. And again, if you would like more information, please meet me in the back. I'm happy to tell you about that. If you'd like to take pictures of, or videos of today's artists, tag them on social media, please do. We love spreading the word about our artists, but please do remain seated while you take those photos, just so that we don't interfere with anybody else's sight lines during the performance. Take one more moment to make sure those cell phones are silenced, and please put your hands together and welcome to the stage Sara, Sue, and Tatyana.
Thank you all for joining us today. Tatyana and I are absolutely thrilled to be back here in this beautiful and inspiring space to share music with you. Many thanks to Emma Cox and everyone at Fourth Church for giving us the opportunity to perform today. We'll be sharing an eclectic variety of short pieces with you today, including some rarely heard gems. Most of these happen to have been composed by women, some of whom you may not have heard of. The first of these women is Marguerite Canal, who was the first French woman to conduct an orchestra in 1917, and the second to win the prestigious Grand Prix de Rome Composition Prize in 1920. She was an excellent pianist, but she was also a gifted singer who had been urged to pursue a career as a singer. And many of her compositions are for voice. The next piece we're going to perform for you, Marguerite Canal's Lied, or song, it was composed when she was just 23, and you can hear within it the exquisite colors and harmonies and imaginative melodies that characterize her work. The British composing prodigy Dorothy Howell was hailed at the tender age of 21 as the English Richard Strauss. That year, Sir Henry Wood had premiered her symphonic work Lamia at the Proms to great acclaim. We'll share with you two contrasting works by Dorothy Howell, both composed when she was in her 20s. The first, Moorings, evokes sunlight glittering on ripples of water and the gentle rocking of moored boats in a harbor. And the charming Rosalind flirts with us, a twinkle in her eye. Elena Kats-Chernin was born in Uzbekistan, and she grew up in Russia and then immigrated to Australia as a teenager. She's a prolific composer who has created works in just about every classical genre, including operas, ballets, and music for TV and film. Butterflying, originally written as a song for children about flying in one's dreams, takes us on a fanciful and exhilarating flight. And here's a fun fact. An orchestral version of this work was used in the 2003 Rugby World Cup opening ceremony. I'm curious, how many of you are familiar with Clarice Assad, a Chicago-based Brazilian-American composer? Show of hands? Just a few. So most of you are in for a wonderful treat, which is listening to the work of this incredibly versatile and imaginative composer for the first time. Clarice describes her soulful lament, Emotiva, which was composed in 2020 during COVID lockdowns, as an emotional response to the early days in quarantine solitude, filled with nostalgia and a certain amount of anxiety about the future. The melodic phrases are imagined as spoken words, either as questions or answers, by a character who expresses their emotion to someone who listens without judgment, never asserting or interrupting, simply accepting facts and offering comfort in the wisdom of their silence. Charles Gates Dawes, a native of Marietta, Ohio, who spent most of his life working in Chicago and living in Evanston, was a banker, lawyer, businessman, politician, and public servant, among other roles. He won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1925 and served as Vice President of the United States from 1925 to 1929. But what Dawes loved most of all was music. He played the flute and piano, he sang, he composed, and he loved listening to all kinds of music, not just classical music. In his later years, he wrote that all my life, music has been my greatest enjoyment. For Dawes, making music was not merely a pleasurable hobby, but a defining axis of his life. I've spent hundreds of hours researching the musical life of Charles Gates Dawes, and last year I was honored to present at the Charles Gates Dawes House, the wonderful Evanston History Center, both a talk and a concert focusing on Dawes' musical life. In 1911, Dawes, who liked to sit at the piano and jot down music that popped into his head, with no ambition whatsoever of publishing any of it, composed a piece simply called Melody. A violinist friend of his, Professor Max Fischel of the Chicago Musical College, now Roosevelt, took the music, arranged it for violin and piano, and got it published. In 1921, the great violinist Fritz Kreisler happened upon Dawes' Melody and was immediately charmed by this lovely piece. Kreisler recorded it a couple weeks after discovering it and started performing it regularly as a recital encore. Soon after that, Dawes' Melody became world famous. 3 decades later, shortly after Dawes' death, the melody gained new fame when it was transformed into the hit song, It's All in the Game, which begins, "Many a tear has to fall." Tatyana and I feel a strong sense of mission when it comes to sharing music by women composers. We want as many people as possible to discover and enjoy the music written by these remarkable composers who just happen to be women. So I'm pleased to share that we're embarking on a video and audio recording project focused on works by female composers that deserve to be heard more widely, with the first tracks to be released on YouTube and streaming services this fall. Cecile Chaminade was a prolific French composer who published more than 400 pieces, ranging from orchestral works like her famous concertino for flute and orchestra, to smaller scale works like songs and character pieces, including her delightfully whimsical and playful Capriccio, which we'll perform for you. She was an accomplished pianist as well, touring internationally, and she first made her name, rather entrepreneurially, by giving recitals of her own music as early as 1878 when she was barely out of her teens. In the US, her performances inspired women throughout the country to establish more than 200 Chaminade clubs, which were dedicated to playing and discussing her music. we'll leave you with an exquisite vocal miniature, just 2 minutes long, by Sergei Rachmaninov. Zdes khorosho, his sublime setting of a text by the Russian poet Galina Galina, evokes serenity and joy amidst the beauty of nature. Here is Galina's poem, in translation. It is nice here. Take a look. In the distance, the river is a blaze of fire. The meadows have spread themselves like a colorful carpet. The clouds are turning white. Here, there is no one. It is silent here. Here, there is only God and me. The flowers, the old pine tree, and you, my dream.